Hello, welcome to Inside the Summit League, and make it 3 in a row for Denver at the Summit League Swimming and Diving Championships. The Pioneer men and the Pioneer women rule the pool again. They dominate in winning their 3rd straight team championships. The Denver men set 10 new league records. The Denver women set 9 new championship standards, and they set 16 new school records between the two. Denver's Dylan Bunch becomes the first male swimmer in league history to win the 1650 freestyle 3 times. And there was another 3-time winner. South Dakota's Greysen Hertting becomes the first female diver in league history to win both the 1-meter and the 3-meter competitions in 3 consecutive seasons at the Summit League Championships. So Hertting is the diving MVP. Denver's Amanda Sanders is the swimming MVP. And the women's team totals look like this. South Dakota State finishes 2nd behind Denver, with Hertting and South Dakota in 3rd place this year. On the men's side, it is Denver, IUPUI in 2nd, and South Dakota State in 3rd. IUPUI led by Jonathan Stoller, who wins the 200 breaststroke. He becomes just the 2nd individual league champion ever for the Jaguars at IUPUI. Dylan Bunch of Denver, 2 victories this year. He has now won 7 individual championships in his career, and Denver does it again.
So it's a great event here. It's a fantastic venue, and the Summit League keeps getting faster. You know, we've got some kids qualified for NC2As and some relays going, so we feel good about it. And kids raced hard every day, every session. Had some good diving events, and we're just in a good place. Good conclusion to the first part of this, and we're looking forward to getting to NC2A.
So the league has divers going to the zone competitions next, coming up in mid-March. The swimmers now wait to see who moves on to the NCAA championships in Atlanta starting March 16th. Up next, 1 week left in the regular season in basketball. Seeding is still to be determined for the Summer League tournament. How big a deal is that? Some interesting history when we come back.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
All right, welcome back, and we have the last games of the regular season in basketball coming up this Thursday and Saturday. Knew it. Still don't know what the seeds are going to be. Really, it's not locked in yet, but do know this. In the last 20 Summit League men's tournaments, a 1 or a 2 seed has won 19 out of the 20 tournaments. The top seed has won 8 of the last 10 on the men's side, and the 2 seed has won the other 2 times. So, is this because of the format, because the 1 and 2 play on Saturday and then they get that day off before the semis on Monday, or is it just simply the 1 and 2 seed are always the best teams? I'm going with the second part of that.
Can I say both? I do think that it is the quality of the teams. That certainly matters. Although this season, I think you look at, really the top 5 teams have all shown they can beat each other. So I think that's going to make for a lot of interesting basketball in Sioux Falls here in a week. But certainly that day off does matter. When you talk about playing 3 games in a row, it's not something these teams have to do very much during their year. I think that is a big challenge for those lower seeds.
All right, on the women's side, it's a little more spread out than that. The 1 seed has won the tournament just 3 times in the last 10 years. The 2 seed has won once. The 3 seed's won a couple times. The 4 seed has won, and even a 6 seed in there in the last 10 years. USD and SDSU likely. We will see after this weekend the top seeds this year, but still both of them have to play IUPUI in Indianapolis this weekend.
Yeah, those are big games for those 2 teams coming up. And, IUPUI played very well on the road at South Dakota State and at USD, so they've shown that they can hang with those 2 teams. In Indianapolis, would not be surprised if IUPUI is able to get some wins there, and then that's going to make Sioux Falls very interesting also.
That will mix it all up. In the meantime, South Dakota's women keep it rolling. Nicole Seekamp, Player of the Week for the 4th time this season. She had 18 points, 6 assists in a win over Western Illinois, 21 points, 10 assists in a win over South Dakota State, and most likely the Player of the Year could probably give it to her right now.
In my opinion, she's certainly earned it. And it's not just her scoring. She is so great at making her team better. She leads the Summit League in assists, nearly 7 a game, and you just hardly ever see that out of someone that scores at the rate that Seekamp does. She's a very efficient scorer as well, shoots a very high percentage. She has my vote for the Player of the Year.
Leads the league in assists and 2nd in Summit League games in scoring right now, behind Michaela Shaw. In the meantime, for the men, John Conchar at IPFW, averaging 10 rebounds a game in Summit League play. He is the men's player of the week again. He averaged 20 points, 13 rebounds in Fort Wayne wins over South Dakota State and Omaha. This kid has been amazing as a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, he is leading the Summit League in rebounding, first of all. You don't hardly ever see a freshman do that. Scoring very efficiently, shooting over 60% on the season and scoring at a great rate, and really has been a big reason why Fort Wayne is sitting at the top.
You got Conchar, you got Tradeon Hollins at Omaha, all these guys in the running for Newcomer of the Year. Mike Dahm at South Dakota State, Darrell Combs at IUPUI, Rozga at Denver. It's going to be interesting for the Newcomer of the Year this year on the men's side.
It really is. I mean, we need an all-newcomer team. There's been some really great talent that has come into the league. A lot of it young talent, too. I mean, you talk about a lot of that list that you just read off, freshmen there that are going to be around for quite some time.
That would be a good 5 guys just right there. All right, up next, more on the week that was in men's hoops. 2 impressive wins for the league leaders at Fort Wayne. And don't forget about the defending league champions at North Dakota State. The Bison are definitely still in the hunt this season.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
All right, welcome back now to men's basketball, and Fort Wayne is for real this year. Knew it coming into the season. We didn't really know who John Conchar was. We didn't know much about Max Landis. They lost Mo Evans to an academic issue midway through the season, and they are 11-3, leading the league right now.
It has been remarkable what they've been able to pull off this season, especially you talk about losing Mo Evans, their leading scorer, their point guard, the guy that has the ball in his hands a ton. And Landis has played at an unbelievable level, quite frankly, and has carried this team. And then Conchar, like you mentioned, has come along. But they've gotten great contributions, too, from Calder, Stewart, guys off the bench, too, that have really helped propel this team.
Fort Wayne just completed a weekend sweep of the second and third place teams. Pick it up on Thursday with Fort Wayne at home against South Dakota State. This was for first place as it stands right now in the Summit League. And the Jackrabbits get 27 points from George Marshall, but Fort Wayne +9 in rebounds. They get 14 more second chance points and just kind of beat up South Dakota State physically.
Well, and that was a big part of it. The rebounding dictated a lot of this game, but also just Fort Wayne is so good offensively. They shoot 47% against the best defensive team in the Summit League. South Dakota State's been holding their opponents around 40% shooting. But Fort Wayne, so good shooting it from the perimeter. They put 91 on the board. Landis
with 22, John Conchar with 22, and as you said, the other guys contributing as well. Michael Calder had 20 points in this win for Fort Wayne. Then on Friday, had Oral Roberts at home in a 4-point win over Denver. Denver had come back, taken the lead with about 7 minutes to go. The game was tied with a minute and a half left, but Albert Owens hits a couple of field goals. Obia Megano finishes up with 4 free throws, and Oral Roberts pulls it out by 4.
Oral Roberts is playing very well. They've actually won 3 games in a row here now, and they're doing it some different ways. In this game, they really did a nice job defensively, holding Denver down just to 58 points and winning the battle of the boards. That's the key, I think, for Oral Roberts. If they can win rebounding wars against the teams, give themselves extra possessions, they'll be able to come out on top.
And they've been getting that 1-2 punch from Megano and Owens. Megano had 26 in this game. He was 14 of 14 at the free throw line. And Albert Owens comes along with 15 points and 8 rebounds for Oral Roberts. On Saturday, South Dakota State comes back after the loss at Fort Wayne. They win by 20 at Western Illinois. Garrett Covington with 23 on 8 of 17 shooting for Western Illinois. But the Jackrabbits get to the free throw line 37 times in this game.
They got themselves a lot of extra possessions by going inside and really attacking the offensive glass. They out-rebound Western by 21 in this game. And it was just a very dominating performance for South Dakota State. The kind of performance we've seen from them at Frost Arena, but we haven't seen it a lot on the road this season, but they did do it in Macomb on Saturday.
Mike Dahm with 18 in that game for the Jackrabbits. DeAndre Parks with 17 in the South Dakota State win there. On Saturday, North Dakota State at home against IUPUI, and the Bison pull it out 63-59. Almost everything in this game was dead even as far as the stats go, except NDSU shot 27 free throws and IUPUI shot 10.
Well, North Dakota State is struggling offensively. Again, they really miss Paul Miller not being in their lineup, but they are finding ways to win games with their defense and their rebounding and by taking care of the ball. It's a recipe that has worked for North Dakota State for several years, and they don't have a very big margin for error right now, but they are finding ways to win games.
And they lead the league right now in giving up points per game at just 64 a game due to the Bison. A.J. Jacobson was 17 in this win for North Dakota State. Fort Wayne, after they beat South Dakota State on Thursday, they come back and beat Omaha 94-90 on Saturday. Omaha shot 49%. They made 10 threes. They had 18 assists, only 8 turnovers, and they lost the game. Fort Wayne puts up 94 in this one.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow if you're Omaha because you played really well offensively, but the key in this game was the free throw line. Omaha usually dominates that. They got outshot from the free throw line by Fort Wayne by 10 in this game. That's what gave the Mastodons the enough possessions and chances to win.
Fort Wayne 24-26 at the free throw line. Conchar again, 19 points, 14 rebounds, and then one of the other guys you mentioned earlier, D'Angelo Stewart, coming off the bench with 23 points and 9 boards for Fort Wayne. When they get Calder and Stewart involved with Conchar and Landis, these guys really good.
They're really good, and they're really good offensively. I mean, you said it right here. They had to play the second and third place teams this week, and they put over 90 points on the board against them. Now, granted, Omaha not known for a great defensive team, but South Dakota State sure is, and that just speaks volumes of what Fort Wayne can do.
All right, and the final game of the week on Sunday, Denver goes to South Dakota and beats the Coyotes 76-71. Marcus Bird with 22 in this one. Another Denver game where they shoot 54%, 9 of 15 on threes, very efficient at the free throw line, and they beat the Coyotes by 5.
And Denver, a young team, is playing better basketball. They have matured through the season. You can tell they've really improved through this Summit League kind of run that they've been on. They've got 6 wins in the Summit League, and I really didn't see that coming. You know, early on they had their struggles, but they've really done a nice job there improving, and they're playing some good basketball here now heading down the stretch.
Denver's played in 2 of the weirdest free throw games we've seen so far this season. Denver had that game where they shot 0 free throws, and in this game against South Dakota shoots 1, goes 1 for 1 at the free throw line. It's kind of that style that Denver plays. Not going to be a lot of free throws in the game.
There is, and Denver plays a lot of zone defense, so they kind of pride themselves on not fouling the opponent and making them have to make contested shots. They did it very well Sunday in Vermillion.
All right, final games of the regular season coming up on Thursday and Saturday. IPFW can secure the number 1 seed with 2 wins, or if they win one of these games, and then they would have a tiebreaker if South Dakota State could tie them somehow because Fort Wayne beat Omaha twice. So IPFW in position to seal that number 1 seed. Omaha can be up and get at least the 3 seed if they beat Oral Roberts this weekend.
Yeah, big game for Omaha. I think getting to that 3 seed would be good for them. You know, kind of stay away from potentially having to play in the 1 seed before the championship game. South Dakota State also has 2 home games. You know, they need to take care of business to make sure they stay in the top of that too. You know, they've still got a chance to tie Fort Wayne as well. Fort Wayne's got a tough game at Western Illinois. It's not going to be easy, but especially at IUPUI.
And the last team to get in is most likely going to be South Dakota. They've got 4 wins right now. Western Illinois 2 games behind them for that final spot in the tournament.
Yeah, Western Illinois's got their back against the wall. They've got to win all the rest of their games. South Dakota needs a Western Illinois loss or win one of their last 2, and then they're fine.
All right, up next, the week in women's hoop. South Dakota is on a 12-game win streak after 2 more W's at home. And did Denver just get the win that will get them into the Summit League postseason tournament?
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Now to women's basketball, and it's going to be really interesting this weekend to watch 2 very big games in Indianapolis on Thursday and Saturday. IUPUI takes on South Dakota and South Dakota State, the 2 league leaders this weekend.
And IUPUI has shown that they can compete with these 2 teams already this season, and I think this is going to be a big kind of indicator of where these 3 programs all stand heading into the Summit League tournament. Certainly a lot on the line for all of them still.
Those 3 have kind of separated themselves with Oral Roberts in that top 4 in the league right now. But the games from the week that was on Thursday had South Dakota State at home against Denver. Jackrabbits win it by 28. mostly because they took 33 more shots in this game than Denver.
And they had lots of extra possessions. They really forced Denver into a ton of turnovers in this game. But Denver didn't quit, even though they were down big. They were down 20 at the end of the first quarter, Tom, but they hung in there. They actually got it back to a lot closer game at the half, and they kind of showed some spunk, and I think that really helped carry them over into their next game.
Yeah, Denver got within 6 until the Jackrabbits pull away late to win that one. Other games on Thursday, South Dakota, the league leaders, at home against Western Illinois, win it 86-50 in this one. Nicole Seecamp, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and they hold Western Illinois to 25% shooting. So that is 11 wins in a row for South Dakota after that one. And then Omaha at home on Thursday, a 3-point win over IUPUI. And Omaha led this game big in the first half. IUPUI came back, led with 3 minutes to go, but Omaha scored the last 7 points of the game to win at 57-54.
This was a huge win for Omaha. Very tough loss for IUPUI. Devastating loss in a lot of ways. It really took them out of a chance to win the Summit League regular season and really made things difficult for IUPUI to even think about getting the 2 seed. They've got some uphill work to do there, but nice defensive effort by Omaha to hold the Jags 54.
Speaking of that, Caroline Hogue, a freshman for Omaha in this game, had 7 blocks. She had 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 blocks. This is a kid that had 900 block shots in high school and is leading the league in block shots right now at Omaha as a freshman. All right, Saturday was Denver. As you said, after the loss at South Dakota State on Thursday, Denver comes back and wins by 10 at North Dakota State. This was a huge win that might be the one that gets them into the Summit League tournament.
And Denver has not been able to play very well on the road, but they found a way to win this game at North Dakota State. They hold the Bison to just 45 points, did a really nice job defending, rebounding in this game, and like you said, big win for them going forward.
Jordan Alt with 10 points and 12 rebounds in that win for Denver. Elsewhere on Saturday, South Dakota, this was the big game at the Dakota Dome in Vermillion against South Dakota State. Coyotes win another one. They sweep the Jackrabbits this year. Another 5-point win, 80-75 the final. South Dakota State scored 32 points in the fourth quarter, but did not have enough offense in the first 3 quarters to get it done.
And that's kind of been the story for South Dakota State this year. They've been great defensively, but they've just had their lulls and their struggles offensively. They did wake up at the end of this game and got it close. It was a big comeback towards the end. Actually got it down to a 1-point game down the stretch, but South Dakota's so good on both ends of the floor. They're playing great offensively. They have all year. But, Tom, to me, they've really improved what they've done defensively. Amy Williams has gotten this team playing at a high level defensively, and you can see how good they are. They've won 12 in a row now, Summit League games.
Coyotes by 5 there. Elsewhere on Saturday, Oral Roberts at home against Western Illinois, 79-55 win here. Maria Martínez, a freshman from Barcelona, had 20 points and 9 rebounds in this game for Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts has 9 wins in the league right now.
And they do it kind of a different way each night out. Some nights they're really doing it with their defense and really controlling tempo. In this game, they just really did a nice job executing on that offensive end. Score 79 points, shoot a high percentage, 49% in the win over Western Illinois.
And then to finish it up on Sunday, IUPUI at home against Fort Wayne, 63-52 win for the Jaguars in this one. Jenna Gunn for IUPUI, 18 points, 10 rebounds. Those are both season highs for her as IUPUI gets to 10-4 in league play. So coming up this weekend, South Dakota can clinch the number 1 seed if they get a win at Fort Wayne on Thursday. IUPUI, again, is at home against South Dakota State on Thursday and South Dakota on Saturday. The Jags could get to the number 2 seed. We'll see what happens this weekend. But really, those 3 coming in to tournament time, South Dakota State, and IUPUI, all look like very good contenders to have a chance to win the Summit League tournament.
I think any of them could pull that off in Sioux Falls. Obviously, South Dakota's playing so good right now. It's hard to see them at least not getting to that championship game and then seeing South Dakota State, IUPUI. That's going to be a battle between those teams this week, and if they have to play again in Sioux Falls as well.
The other big game is for the final spot in the tournament. North Dakota State will play at Fort Wayne on Saturday. That could be the game that will decide which one of those 2 gets into the Summit League tournament. All right, thanks, Nuit. Up next, a peek at some of the outstanding performances this season in indoor track and field as we head into the league championships this weekend.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Summit League Indoor Track and Field Championships run this Friday and Saturday in Fort Wayne. One of the great stories going in is Emily Grove. She is a pole vaulter, a 3-time All-American at the University of South Dakota, who missed all of last year because of injury.
It's a tough process. Anytime you have broken bones, that's hard. But Emily is very on the go, always wants to train, so I think Derek has really been doing a good job of kind of monitoring that. Getting the training room involved and getting all the rehab that she's needed has been really big, but it's been a long, slow, at times very difficult process, one that there were times we're not sure this was ever going to happen.
So all of that information makes it even more incredible that last week at the Iowa State Classic, Grove cleared 14 feet 9.5 inches to win the event that ties her personal best, and that is the second best in the nation right now in Division I.
And to be able to see Emily be back at that level is great for her as an individual, but I think it really helps our program feel like we're headed back in the right direction again. We've got some good things going. So we're excited to see her kind of taking that big jump. It was a lot of fun to see her, and I think her teammates really enjoyed that too. So I think they get a lot of confidence knowing that that our athletes in our program can have that kind of success.
Well, Grove won the indoor championship 2 years ago, and she is the favorite going in this year. Lucky Huber says the women at North Dakota State are still the team to beat this weekend. The Bison won last year with USD second. Flip that around for the men. The Coyotes at USD are the 3-time defending men's team champions, and we will check it out next week on Inside the Summit League.